Muhammad was born in Mecca into a polytheistic tribe that oversaw the pagan temple of the Kaaba, which then was dedicated to a polytheistic god, Hubal. Muhammad did not like his own culture, possibly because he was an orphan and he didn't fit in. Reportedly, he used to go on trade routes to Syria as an early teenager, where he learned about Christians and Jews and their beliefs that he probably looked up to because they were far more advanced, knowledgeable, and civilized than his own people back home. Muhammad declared his own religion based on monotheistic Abrahamic beliefs. But even after declaring his own religion, which was meant to be an Abrahamic religion, he still kept many polytheistic pagan aspects which he adopted from the pre-Islamic Arab polytheists. These are the Kaaba, which turned into the center of Islamic attention, the black stone, which the stone-worshipping polytheists revered, the belief in beings called jinns, and more. But this is a topic that deserves its own entire video. Muhammad was a suspected liar. Muslims and Islamic sources often assert that Muhammad was known as a reliable man and that he had the nickname the Trustworthy. They assert that he earned this title as a trader and in the internal affairs of Mecca before he announced his prophethood. But of course, just because someone is a reliable trader, that does not mean that this person can be trusted in everything that they say and do, especially if they claim to be coming in the name of an almighty God who demands everyone's submission. In fact, the Quran itself, which is supposedly Allah's direct word, revealed through Muhammad's own mouth, responds to people and defends Muhammad repeatedly because people ridicule him for his stories and claims. They call him a liar repeatedly. They call him a madman. They accuse him of forgery and of retelling ancient stories as if they were original. They would also accuse him of believing what everyone says. And they even accused him of taking his Quran revelations and stories from a specific man that Muhammad used to spend time with. And the Quran attempts to refute this in a rather funny way by saying that that man that Muhammad talks to speaks a different language while the Quran is in Arabic. From here, we can kind of see that the entire idea that Muhammad was undoubtedly a reliable man is a little bit far-fetched and probably does not represent the whole true century. Muhammad's life is unclear. Trusting Muhammad is not the only issue that we have. Even before we get to trusting Muhammad, it is hard for us to establish who Muhammad really was. The Quran deals in much of its contents with the political matters that are happening during the time of its revelation. Aside from that, it repetitively retells fragments of biblical stories and makes claims about life, afterlife, and Allah. It doesn't really tell us much about Muhammad himself. What we know about Muhammad comes from biographies, the first complete one of which came into existence 120 years after Muhammad's death, and mostly relied on oral traditions. The other primary source is the Hadith, which are transmitted narrations about the actions and words of Muhammad and his contemporaries. And the first complete Hadith compilation was completed a century after Muhammad's death, while the most authentic compilations only came into existence over 2 centuries after his death. There are also many problems with the Hadith, such as that many unreliable Hadiths exist, and that Hadiths can only be rated as authentic if the narrators are Muslims of good character, which under historical standards would establish bias and put the authenticity of those reports under doubt. So accounts of who Muhammad actually was and what he really did rely on late accounts that may be very biased, and that makes it hard to trust the Islamic.
Almost everything we know about Islam today came primarily from north. Not all of these northern areas, except Cairo, are where the Abbasids originated. Let's now come to our conclusions. And these are my conclusions. I'm going to go through a number of these. I think there are 15 in together. Should we go through them? Here are the first one. The sources for everything we know about traditional Islam came too late and from too far away. Am I becoming redundant?
Yeah.
Except for the first canonization, which is impossible to find, that's the one from Uthman. The other 4 canons are too far north. Cairo, Damascus, Kufa, Basra, thus all in Egypt, Syria, or Iraq. The Quranic Arabic is derived from the Nabatean Aramaic, which is again too far north. The Ashkenazi letter is not from the 7th century, but from the 16th century, thus again much too late. And also, it's from the Ottoman Empire, so therefore it would be coming from Turkey, again, too far north. The Constitution Medina is not from the 7th century, but from the 9th century, again, too late, and it comes from Ibn Hisham. Where did Hisham do his writing? He did it in what is today Baghdad, again, too far north. The doctrine Iacobi refers to the wrong man at the wrong place and from the wrong time. The doctrine Iacobi is also introduced in Ibn Hisham, again, too late and also too far north. Muhammad is not in the Quran, nor is he in the scripture of the Dome Rock. I'm still on the fence on that one, but I'm going to put it out there as a white paper. The coins that we looked at support the 7th century archaeological and documentary evidence and simultaneously confront the traditional 9th to 10th century Islamic narrative because it confronts it as far as who the people were. In the West, they were all Christians. In the East, they were all Zoroastrians. None of them were Muslims at all. When we go in number 10, Ilyas ibn Qabisa of Tayae may be a 7th century Muhammad, but the later traditions may borrowed his name, but they certainly didn't borrow his character. If they had used that Muhammad, that would be a Muhammad that people could be praising today, not the Muhammad we see that's in the traditions. We can't find any of the 4th rightly guided caliphs in the 7th century all, which is odd. And the rock inscriptions prior to 690 say nothing about Islam, say nothing about Muhammad, say nothing about Mecca, say nothing about the Quran, or even about Muslims. These only begin to appear in 690 and then finally are introduced as we know today between 720 and 730. Which is leading up into the Abbasids who take over in 749. The Hijra of 622 was simply a later redaction by the Abbasids onto an earlier battle won by Heraclius for the Arabs, recognized as the year of the Arabs finally created to create their own identity. That's why they put Muhammad there, because they have to have a story for him. When you need to have a story, you better put the Hijra as a place where he lived in Mecca, Medina. There was no Mecca to begin with, so how could there be an Hijra that far south, nor that early? The 741 inscription, which is the first reference to Mecca anywhere in the world, and Patricia Crone said that. She didn't read the whole inscription, because the inscription places it way up in Edessa, way up in southern Turkey, right, too far north, yet places it in the wrong place and at the wrong time. Petra was the initial sanctuary for the Arabs, which was later replaced by the current Mecca, a much more important one, because Petra fits all what the traditions say Petra should have been. Conclusion, the historical record suggests that most everything we now know of Islam in the 7th century is either too far north or too far away or much too late to be the Islam of the 9th century Islamic tradition. Our final conclusion, Islam as you and I know it, Islam that you were practicing, Islam that we're seeing that is practiced by 1.8 billion people around the world, is an Abbasid creation. It is a fraud.
Well, brother?
I want you to know first, I'm concerned about your well-being, so I hope you're all right. I hope that your life is well, that your relationships are beautiful, that you experience abundance, not greed, not excess. That true love is present in your life and around your life, that you have a clear understanding of God and relationship with the Creator, that you haven't found any reasons to suffer. I start this by saying that you were not born in sin, that you were created by the source of creation, and that every hair on your head has been counted, that you are loved beyond this planet and beyond what you can ever imagine. You are loved. I want you to know that within yourself is an originality yet to be expressed on this planet. And until you go within to realize that, it won't be expressed, and you'll be a carbon copy of whatever false idols you created or fallen under. I want you to know that the men whom most of your religions are based off of were teaching you more than religion. They were teaching you spirituality. They will try to teach you how to communicate with God. Your natural right, your natural birth. But instead, I find so many of my brothers who sincerely believe they're not good enough for their creator, that they have to do things in order to get their creator's attention. Like they have to become something to get their creator's attention. You already became it. You're a human being. That's special enough. That's beautiful enough.
I ain't comfortable on my knees, so can you holler at me while I smoke weed? Be my lookout while I serve all these dope things. Tell Nas I just wanna live good, ain't really about a coke dream. We'll pursue it doing something else, but I'm young and I'm black and they told me ain't nothing else. Whole life been hustling, ducking 12, been surviving, I ain't lived yet. Head licks trying to come up on the big check. I'm not ready to die, machine gun funk, I ain't get that big yet. I ain't died till my name in lights, I want fame in life, that's why we came here, right? Even though I see the proof, people paid the price. I know I act a fool, Nana raised me right. Heard it's never too late, you can save my life. So what's sin when I pray? Shit, I pray for white and enough artillery to keep me safe at night. I'm just saying, no, this shit hurt. Ain't really no love, couldn't take church. All they do is judge, and you know a nigga hate court. All I wanna do is ball, I don't even play sports. Tell me, am I wrong? If I make it through hell, tell me, am I strong? But do it mean that I'm a demon? Is life an illusion? Tell me, am I dreaming? I'm supposed to wake up to reality. I ain't saying that I doubt you, G, but I don't even know the address. I'm a sad mess. How you gonna get a house to me? Mama said that she saved, she covered in blood, but I'm the one that's insane. Said I'm covered in the blood too. Boy, you telling bad lies when you get baptized. Nah, mama, I'm gang. Am I wrong, going right? That ain't up to you. God said don't judge me, boo. I ain't grow up like no huckster, boo. Daddy wasn't no doctor, my daddy did drugs. Mama wasn't sober, she was high off love. Should I pray for me? Should I pray for them? If you the savior, why the hell you ain't save me then? Why you take my friends? Face said if you wanna get right, gotta make amends. Tell me what it take for you to take me in. Pope, I'm here now though. I wanna know what it take to get where I'm supposed to be. So can you holler at me? Can a real nigga pray, Lord? When I pray, will you send me everything that I pray for? Even though I sin every day, I feel like I'm in the way, Lord. When a real nigga pray, Lord, do you still hear the calls and cries? Will I ever see my dogs that died? Do all dogs go to heaven or it's all just lies? Can a real nigga pray, Lord? When I pray, will you send me everything that I pray for? Even though I sin every day, I feel like I'm in the way, Lord. When a real nigga pray, Lord, do you still hear the calls and cries? Will I ever see my dogs that died? Do all dogs go to heaven or it's all just lies? Can a real nigga pray, Lord? When a real nigga pray, Lord, keep it real, I don't know how to pray. I'm only thankful on holidays. I live the type of lifestyle where I really might die today. I done been through so much, if I did die, man, I wouldn't feel no type of way. I done prayed after dirt I did, that's how berserk I is. Why would you help me? I done hurt your kids. I'm talking like I ain't yours. They said you only love us if we saints, Lord. That's not who my brother said that he came for. Said he came for the gangsters and gang lords, the hustlers, the pimps. If you righteous, you saved. Get out of the way, he want us to repent. He know that we tired of being stuck in this shit, been troubled by all of the stuff that we did. He know our secrets, the stuff that we hid. We fooling ourselves, this is the hell. The struggle to live when the world is yours. You abundant, you wanna go, be still and know. Why do you keep running? Give it all away, you ain't gotta keep nothing. Give God the weight, you ain't gotta keep struggling. He got away, you ain't gotta keep hustling. When I really needed love, I was out here just fucking. I was living disgusting, being honest, no judging. My father was nudging and he wasn't budging. Said fuck it, decided to see what he wanted. He freed me, now I gotta free all my brothers, and I gotta free all my sisters. We going home, my niggas. We can a real nigga pray, Lord? When I pray, will you send me everything that I pray for? Even though I sin every day, I feel like I'm in the way, Lord. When a real nigga pray, Lord, do you still hear the calls and cries? Will I ever see my dogs that died? Do all dogs go to heaven or it's all just lies? Can a real nigga pray, Lord? When I pray, will you send me everything that I pray for? Even though I sin every day, I feel like I'm in the way, Lord. When a real nigga pray, Lord, do you still hear the calls and cries? Will I ever see my dogs that died? die? Do all dogs go to heaven or it's all just lies? Can a real nigga pray, Lord? When a real nigga pray, Lord?